Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to the Virgo channel. Hi, Wendy. Sorry I'm late. It's been crazy. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Laura and I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. I'm also going to do a general message for my winner, Wendy. Her name is Wendy. And though you may resonate with it, because that's how spiritual energy works. It works like a magnet to who and what needs to hear the message. So it's not uncommon for multiple people to feel as if they're going through the same type of situation. I like to put that out there because spiritual energy is like that. We get what we need, not necessarily what we want. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get what you want and also get what you need. That's the beauty of it. See, there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness will determine the habits and the behaviorisms that you choose, and those are what really determine your karma. And that's why when we're talking about karmic mates, it's really important to be able to know what your spiritual wounds are, what your shadows are, so that you're not reacting to your person through the wound, but actually through what's happening. All right, if you're new to the channel, anything of any importance or relevance you can find in the description box below. You'll always be able to find how to enter into winning a free reading with me. All you got to do really is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always how Spirit likes to tell me how to start off your reading. So let's just see. And you are allowed to ask me questions, but I always like to channel first. I only say that because shadow readings, you're going to get what you need, but not all the time what you want. But you're allowed to ask me what you want. Just Spirit will be like, that's important, but it's kind of like an ego type question. All right, the word of the video that you're going to write is self-observation. You're going to write the word self-observation in your comment bar. All right. And you'll know if I chose you, if I wrote the word winner underneath, and just, correspond back and forth to me through my email, which you'll find in the description box. Or you could do what Wendy did, which is reach out to me through my cell phone and just tell me, again, what days, times work best for you. We'll figure out best times that work for the both of us. We'll agree on a time. And this way I can send you the link straight to your email, straight to your phone. You don't need to look for it, which is really important. All right. So I feel as if you're in a place right now where you're really you're looking at your life. You're in a place of really healing yourself because you're not really liking what you're seeing. You're not really liking what you're feeling. And it's really important at this time not to have judgment on yourself. And I say that because I feel like you are. Like the self-observation is, I don't know how I got here. I don't know why my life looks like this. I don't know why I come across with the best intention, but whatever manifests, I'm just not feeling comfortable. And what I have to say is that they're growing pains. You were never allowed your process, meaning your unique individuality happens when you're a child and when you feel supported by a mommy and a daddy. And if it doesn't necessarily mean that a person that doesn't have support, they can't do it. It's that they usually find support from an outside thing or person that helps them create the support. So a lot of your actions and a lot of your behaviorisms were built on the environment that you grew up in. And that was a place that you didn't feel safe. It was a place that you didn't really like yourself. And it wasn't because you didn't like yourself. It was because that was the spiritual message unconsciously. So you actually have a lot of psychic ability yourself. This is what I'm feeling. And so it's really important that when you make a decision, you tap into your heart, your head, and your gut, not just your head, because a lot of times you'll react from a place of woundedness instead of your higher self, where you are right now. And that's very normal. And it's called shadow work. You're in the right place. And you've actually, your higher self brought you here to listen to this because Your soul always knows what you want. And I just tell you that because when we're in a place of self observation, because we don't really like what's happening and we don't feel safe, that's what it is. We don't feel safe. And we don't feel safe because we don't trust ourselves. Well, again, we need to look at those wounds first. Now, you look at the inner child wounds. And so if you're here to find out about a relationship, I am going to pull cards on that. Because again, what other way would you be able to really look at yourself? Our relationships make us look at ourselves. Our finances make us look at ourselves. How our children react makes us look at ourselves. Everything makes us look at ourselves, and that's how we form our perceptions about ourselves. If we didn't have a strong foundation of really knowing who we were. And I feel like you didn't, because again, you were raised in an environment that wasn't really supportive to you. It's not a blame game, but we have to understand, where did the wound come from? Where did the wound come from? What is it that I'm doing that's preventing me from obtaining the finances, the money, whatever it is that I'm wanting to see, because I'm feeling like I can't have it? And Spirit says that's impossible. It's like, it's not impossible. It's impossible that you think that I would make you separate from everyone else. It's like, you're not here by mistake, you're here by my design. You're down there to learn you're not separate from me, which is unconditional love. Though you have shadows. So as they say, yes, I'll take whatever Spirit wants me. Yeah, that's what it is. I feel like right now for you, it's more about like coming to a place of acceptance. First of all, even if you don't like what's happening, you have to come to a place of acceptance. I'm going to tell you why. Because when we don't accept, it's just another layer of like shit that needs to be healed. It's almost like now lock that perception in place that makes you feel disempowered, instead of realizing that you're down here to learn and to manifest. There's a reason why we live many, many lifetimes. You never learn one lesson in one lifetime. A lot of times it takes us multiple times to learn lessons. And sometimes it takes multiple lifetimes. That's why you get a past life karmic mate. So you got to look at things from a spiritual perspective when you're someone that's like, well, I grew up in that environment. I was programmed. I was conditioned to believe that there's something wrong with me. I'm conditioned to believe that I'm not worth shit, that I can't manifest shit. When really that's not true. I'm not even that person anymore. I shed those things, but you have an awareness of those things. Have you integrated them yet? See, again, Spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it, God, whatever you want to call it, it's sneaky. It's gonna make you change your mind and your heart about how you perceive yourself. We couldn't do it on our own. We do it through integration and also creating ourselves. Again, and that's how you live your bliss, because it's not a logical thing. It's the giving, receiving of love through your heart, through your passion. And again, it feels right, the gut. And then, yes, it would like you logic it all is in alignment. But it's to look at things more from a spiritual perspective. If you grew up in that type of environment, it's not going to logically make sense that your parent would be that angry. You wouldn't wrap your head around it, because you'd always say, well, when I have children, or when I'm a mom, I don't do that. It's, again, wounds are, it's spiritual. It means that you were agreed to be born into a family to teach you certain lessons. And teaching them is not just the actual going through the experience, it's the actual integration. So we say again, abandoned. It's like, are you abandoned? So what does that mean? It means that there was no support. That's what it means. Even if there was a parent in the house, that meant whatever I'm doing is not important. Emotionally abandoned. That person couldn't be there. So what happens? I feel like I wind up in relationships where I don't get enough. And so Spirit says that's actually a you thing, not your relationship thing. And so understand that. So it'll, especially if you're coming from a place of lack. So if you're like in a relationship and you're like, I'm not really feeling that fulfilled all the time, Spirit's saying that's a you thing. It's like you'll look to change your environment, but that's the trigger. Never come from the wound. Never come from the wound. You're coming from a place of fear, and you'll ruin your life. Again, you'll be like, you're not, because your ego will look for the reason. But that abandonment you came into the situation with. That's what Spirit's saying. So are you abandoning yourself? Remember, you got to reparent. You got to reparent yourself. How are you going to do that? I can't abandon myself. What does that mean? Well, again, God says through your passions, coming back to that place of innocence, which innocence is like a child. And that's what I felt like. Be like childlike. Why does it say that in the Bible? Children don't have expectations. It's like you got to go out and have a love affair with yourself. There's part of you that doesn't even know who you are. And that's because that was a long time ago. That's not who you are now. It's like we're here to evolve, and that's okay. But to bring back the innocence, no, I'm ruined because of the experiences that I went through. And God says, no, you're not. It's like, again, it's the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. So first of all, foremost, why are you focused on what was? And it'd be like, because there's nothing to take its place. You got to create a new neurological pathway, and that's through doing something new. This is very true, not who I was, but don't know who I am. That's what Spirit is saying. So you're coming from those past programs because you don't realize it. You're coming from, well, when I grew up, I didn't have this, so I want to do that. This is important. And really, Spirit's saying, it's like, who are you now? Have a love affair with yourself. Because if you don't trust yourself, how are you going to trust yourself? And I'm going to tell you how. That's through, again, your intuition, being led by your intuition, acting on it, not through a relationship, not through people, but through, do I want to try this? Would I like this? Do I feel that this would help me, this class? Again, this is the foundation that we're building, because no matter what happens in the world, you need to make yourself strong. That's how we go with the flow of life. God says you got no control over the environment. So, and believe me, you grew up and you were conditioned in an environment not to trust yourself. So already because where there wasn't parent. And so the innocence is love. Come back to love. That's unconditional love. And that's through doing what you love. And so you know what you love, Wendy. You're a very smart person. And I'm sure everyone else that's listening has put their energy into things that they like. It's just a thing of, I don't trust me. And that's because you haven't found your style yet. Your unique individuality is an unfoldment process, because in the Bible it says no one can take what's yours. Why is that? Because it's happening as you're doing it. So you don't even know it yet. And God makes a way where there is no way just for you. Remember that. You're not in charge of how you get there. You're only in charge of what you want to create. So this is where you go wrong. You're like, and that's because you were taught that you should already know this. You should already know this. And that's like when we really know what? I'm like in the 7th grade. I should know what I should be doing with the rest of my life. So it was an unrealistic, very unrealistic expectation of what you were supposed to do at a young age. This is where the trauma came from. This is why I'm overstimulated. I should know something. And God says, only in the now do I give you divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. So why are you doing my job? Do your job. Be like childlike. This is where the problem's coming into play. You have judgment. It doesn't look right. And see, it's again, look at how you're looking at yourself. I said, you're not allowed to do that. Innocence. Children never say it doesn't look like that. They say that's a cardboard box. No, it's not. That's my treehouse for the next 3 weeks until it rains. Imagination, meaning you're using very broken structures for what they are to master whatever you're trying to master, to create whatever you want to create without judgment. And you're letting Spirit guide you. And so this is where, again, that's the second chakra is really what needs to be healed. And that's where your shadows are, because how you're perceiving yourself. And so you're perceiving yourself off, you're perceiving the world off, mainly because, again, those old programs. And so it's all about also friendship. And why I say that, it's like you have to create a root chakra. Well, strong. That's what's missing here. I wasn't supported. I feel abandoned. I don't feel adequate. All these things. And so what is the root chakra then? Spirit says, well, it's your connection to the world. It's your connection to your physical body. and it's your connection to every single person in the world. And then what happens is if you live that way for too long, you wind up getting problems within your skeleton system, your endocrine system, your like all major systems of the physical body and all major currencies of the physical world. And we see money issues here. And the spirit says, see, money has no energy except for the energy you're giving it. And you don't like who you are right now. So money is going to be, and it's like where spirit says, like, why are we making it like that? Oh, old programs, we're stuck. So you're going to feel like victim consciousness. So in the beginning, spirit says friendship. Why did you pull that card? Well, that's the second chakra. It's again connection to other people and relationships. Well, again, this is why. Again, I go out, I try to do whatever, and those old programs are playing, and then I tend to trigger people, or I tend to not feel like I fit in. God says that's a you thing. And you're like, well, it's a poor connection to the physical body because the trauma that you go through when you're abused as a child, again, emotionally abused, where you don't feel safe, you don't feel supported, you don't feel loved. And again, and parents did the best that they could. This isn't a blame game. We just need to say, where did these wounds come from to override the reptilian survival mind? Otherwise, it's not going to let you let go of those things. So you need to integrate them. And you integrate your spiritual wounds through, again, the reparenting process. And in here, it's like you need a better connection to your physical body. Yoga, breath work. I told you that. I think I did your reading a long time ago. I think it was 8 months ago. And you called my house. That was like a private reading. And you still have those wounds. So it's like, and I'm sure, again, anyone that's listening has the same problem, because anyone that doesn't feel safe, again, and has a poor connection to the physical body, why? Because we're up in our head. When don't feel connecting, you don't feel safe, it's like, it's a child's way to go inward, and they go up into their mind. And that is part of the reason why they say the child that survives thrives. And they do so because they have the imagination and the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. You imagine it, you create it. And your issue is you need to ground and become it. Again, that first and second chakra. So we discovered, well, I don't feel connected. So again, friendship. And that's through joining clubs. You know what you like. You know what you want to create for you, Wendy. Again, this is a private message, but it's through like finance. It's through, again, like all those things that, again, like stocks, bonds, trading, that shit that you like. So again, friendship. And when you join clubs and you learn, you make like you get camaraderie. It's like, and people look at you through your craft, not with who you once were, not with what happened in the past. It's again, and irony is like, so you usually meet people that also have similar backgrounds. However, the focus is on what I'm doing, where I'm going, and the actual integration of learning your craft. And in that, you become the synergy of that energy, and you attract, and then you're living your bliss. This is not a logical thing. This is how the universe conspires to bring you exactly what you need. You might be like, I don't want to take that fucking class. And spirit will say, well, you suck. You got to take the class. I remember when I was like, I don't know why. It's like, I hate writing. Why do you make me write? And I had a lot of problems in writing. And God says, because you look at yourself defective. And you are not defective because you don't know how to write. It's again, you didn't learn your process. And everyone has a unique process. And that's with everything. That was one of my wounds. Everybody has wounds. I don't care how spiritual you are. And actually, if you're very spiritual, you're going to wind up having more wounds. It's almost like the initiation to become a healer. It's like the irony. Listen to me. Don't look at my life, but listen to me, because you can trust yourself. It's the way spirit shows us. So for you, again, friendship, there's always a lack of that. There's a lack of support. There's a lack of that, which allows you to really be consistent in what you're trying to achieve. Because what happens is you listen to your intuition, you go for it, you get a bad manifestation, then that hurts your self esteem. And we need camaraderie. We need friends that are going to cheer us on and that are going to say, hey, listen, you're doing that ass backwards. You're doing that wrong. You know what you should do? Or you know what class I heard about? It's this is how. It's like you don't know. You're limited and you're limited because you're an island to yourself. So again, no expectation. You have to go out there and again try different things, see what resonates. How do people create themselves? It's not through one class. It's through going through a lot of different classes and experiencing a lot of the things which are relevant to their craft, and they take pieces like how Michael Kors makes a shirt. He went to 1,000 different runway shows and took 1,000 different ideas from 1,000 different stylists, and they created themselves. This is what you need to do. It's like, but with your craft, that's how you make friends. That's how you again can go with the flow of whatever is going on in your life. It's called balance. You're not balanced. And the problem is that when you have a wound in the first and second chakra, all your wounds are blocked because then you're so busy up in your mind, you can't be led by your gut. And then you're like, I don't really know. It's like, again, my heart's closed. I'm afraid of making a mistake. Where again, that's it. There's no expectations, no, just trying and finding your style so you get strong. The issue is for a lot of people is that they want to put the horse before the cart. They want they don't realize how long it takes to master a craft. It's like you may say, well, I've taken a lot of times, and spirit will say, look at an Olympic player that is an ice skater that you think that they did only an hour a day. They did that shit. They were there all day, all day, all night, all day, all night, all day, all night. And do you think that they thought that they were going to get it? Sometimes no. Sometimes I'm just not going to get it. And then when they let it go and be like, fuck it, I don't give a shit if I never get it again. Then all of a sudden they do it and they're like, holy shit, I got it. And it's because now you weren't holding on to the expectation of, I need for it to look this way. I need for it to be perfect. And that's where, again, spirit thing, you grew up again in an environment that didn't let you have your individuality. You were supposed to be perfect. So now you're taking that behaviorism, that abusive behaviorism, and putting it onto yourself. And no one's perfect. It's again, we shoot for excellence around here. And understand you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And that's okay. But the people that really see your like who you are, your ethnic, I can't say the word, but see that you're genuine, then what'll happen is they'll you'll meet your tribe. There's a sense of isolation for you. There's a sense of loss. I don't feel like I can do this. I'm afraid. And spirit says, but you're not trying. And it's like you have to schedule out a day. Second chakra is also, by the way, there's a lot of hours in the day to go with the flow of life. It means that there's time that you're balanced. So you have time for your children or work, and then time for your physical health, time for your spiritual health, time for work, time to go out and explore. People get ideas in their quiet time. There's no quiet time if you're constantly, oh my God, I need to think about it. I need to think about it. I need to think about it. It's not going to work. There's a reason why disease comes from stress. It's like because it brings us further away from ourselves. Spirit says, I'm inside of you as a gift of the spirit. It's like, I am unconditional love. The answers are inside of you. And you're like, if the answers are inside of me, then how come I'm not getting it? And spirit says, because you're getting in your own way. It's again, you're too much in your own way. You have to relax. And that is because you were raised in an environment where you didn't feel safe because you didn't feel supported. So your nervous system is like, didn't your reading start off where I said you're a little psychic because of that? Again, where you're like, oh, I just feel it. But spirit says, remember, you don't want to be psychic and looking through like distorted perceptions because you have wounds, because you'll always think that people are that. but it's okay. You don't need years of therapy. If you need therapy, go to therapy. But what you really need to do is to learn how to trust yourself, and that's embodying it. A lot of times people go to therapy to help them embody themselves to deal with the anxiety, but you don't need to. You can take a coaching program. My coaching program has tapping, EFT, NLP, breath work. You need to recondition your nervous system. Otherwise, you'll get triggered and always react. Oh, I couldn't help it. I just felt like my brain, and then I just reacted, and then I manifested this. And God says, you got in your own way again. It's like, well, I just felt like it was what Spirit says. It's good. You're coming from the wound. You're not coming from your true self. And your true self only in the now. And so we have to slow down. Remember, when you're a kid and you're trying to figure it out and you don't feel safe, you're like trying to. It's like unrealistic expectations. It's not a blame game, but we have to understand again where the wound comes from. And we have to say, okay, it came from here. If I logically do, get back into my body and strengthen my nervous system, I'm not going to do that anymore. And so faith is the bridge that connects you. So you've got to start with, I'm doing this with the belief I can trust myself. I love myself, which is, by the way, the reparenting of you didn't love yourself because you were taught not to love yourself. So trying to be perfect, and then having shame because it's like, I'm not creating my life. These are real root chakra imbalances, So we have to recreate ourselves. And it's not a mistake. God says, well, I give you the story of who you think you are, then there's a real story of who you truly are. So you can see the actual difference, that you have spirit inside of you, that there's a supernatural part of you, that you really can create whatever it is that you want, but you need to recondition. And that's really what I believe your wounds are. Now, if we look at relationships, because how else would spirit tell us, right? That things are off, or things are good, or maybe we're too codependent, or maybe, like, again, we overfeel, or whatever it is, and we don't know why certain things are happening. So again, not all the time are they bad. Again, sometimes where our shadows are hidden gifts. Unfortunately, when we detach from these parts of ourselves, it's for survival. It's not a logical thing. So it's not all the time that our shadows, sometimes we have extra empathy. We overgive. So I mean, that could be a bad thing too, overgiving, but it's not a bad character trait, where shadows can more likely give bad character traits. And you always know, because when you've dated a person that has bad character, you're like, how could you have done that? It's like, well, again, only coming from the ego, the self. Okay, the universe brought us together for a reason. I'm discovering what these reasons are. So I feel as if it's not if you're in a relationship, it's not a bad relationship. I feel like it's one that helps, is to help, feels like that. And again, what is this? I don't feel like it's bad at all. I just wanted to know, is it a spiritual relationship? We have past life connections. So again, the past life connection, which always tells you that you incarnated again with this person to help learn. And I don't really even see problems within your situation right now. So as far as your spiritual blocks, that's what it is. And now, if you have any questions about anything, ask me. Then I do open forum for whoever has questions, because that really is a message from spirit to integrate. Because this isn't a yes or no, because right now you wouldn't be doing shit. Like, it's that spirit said you need advisory. You needed advisory because you're frozen, paralyzed, nervous, and you needed to know where to start because you weren't starting. And then so that's really the most important. So you want to know about your children. Well, first and foremost, if you're happy, then your children are going to be happy. I feel like you haven't been happy. So that's number one. And I feel like some of your children are sensitive and they pick up on it. So the thing is, Wendy, like you did you don't want to be inheriting, like passing down that family karma. If you're not in a good way, it doesn't matter if you're not abusing your children. Your children still won't feel safe. They still won't feel like they need for you to be happy. It was like when you grew up with your mother and your mother was never happy. I mean, we take it personally, what winds up happening. So that's number one, that spirit's saying. Because I feel like you are a good mom. And I also feel like, yeah, my children are acting up and my downstairs neighbor is causing a lot of stress. Well, I feel like part of this is what you need to do. Basically, my home life. Yeah, well, that's it. It is rocky, but you are the head of the home. You're the one that needs to do it, like to settle. And I say this because my husband's in hospice right now, and my home is run like a military, like where it's structure. You didn't have structure. No one raised you. You were told you had all these things. So life is a little bit like that. And that's a combination of your home life. And so you tend to get it good and then it doesn't get good. You know the type of person that you are, that you need to have a focus. You need to give yourself love first. You can't give from an empty well. And especially if you came from a home where you didn't get that love to begin with, you're already being like, well, I need more. And so what you need to do is you need to create a daily practice, a daily structure. You need to structurize yourself. Your children don't feel safe the way that you didn't feel safe, like you don't have control. And so, and that's through, again, I would get up in the morning and I would do the Silva Ultra method. Why? It gets you into that ESP connection. Go get it on YouTube. ESP connection, that allows you to really open up your psychic abilities. Why do you want to do that? Because only in the now do you get divine guidance. And so we have to be able to tap into that right brain as well as our left brain, our logical, analytical mind, being strong within yourself. So part of you also knows that your nervous system is over responsive. You get short, you get moody, you're a highly sensitive person. Those are normal feelings. So doing things like yoga, breath work, EFT, these to recondition, EMDR, ERMD, or EMDR, like it's the eye. Take the course on Udemy. It's free. Or if it's not free, it's cheap. It's like, but my point is you can get the YouTube link where you watch it. So you don't have to pay $300 to actually do that course. It's a cheaper way to do it, but you need to recondition your nervous system. Otherwise, because this is a root chakra issue and you don't want to always be coming from those past behaviorisms. Then what you need to do is you need to invest in yourself and give time for your children, like in between. And I think each and every child their own time, possibly even if it's a half an hour a day, 15, 20 minutes a day. But then it's also like structurize your day, meaning wake up in the morning, take care of yourself. Look to see what classes are online. Look to see who you could connect with, to who you could learn before you make any even decisions. It's like, I think what happens is we get excited and we feel like we know something. We rush into something. And what it is that you didn't do enough research. So if you're strong, your children will be strong. I don't feel like anybody's going to do anything over the top. I just feel like everybody is feeling uneasy. And so, but uneasy really doesn't have anything to do with money or not. Children don't care. They care if their mom is happy. They care if, their home life is happy. You can give a child, like, you go out and buy a bag of ice pops for $3 and have it for a month, and they would be happy with the TV and ice pops, and if you were in a happy mood. So this is strongly about you. And empaths have that potential, by the way. Empaths have the power to make the environment extremely comfortable or a living nightmare. It's like, and the reason why is because of our emotions. And so that's why I'm saying the rocky home life for you is because of the way that you're feeling. And so, and that's your biggest fear too. I don't want to do it. So the devil knows that that's your greatest fear. And unconsciously, you're creating it. So that's why I'm saying everything will be fine if you create that daily practice, but you have to create it. One that helps you and feeds you, and realize that maybe in a month you won't be able to invest money into the real estate, not into like stocks and stuff like that. However, within a year you would be able to make those right choices. Okay, so I've been having a lot of nightmares with babies and my children crying and my ex. I wake up anxious and troubled, a lot of water and fruit in them. Well, water is emotions a lot, and food is like, again, stability, and fruit for life is, again, the fruits of life is happiness. And it's almost like you feel as if, I think unconsciously, you feel as if being with your ex did something to you. And I feel like it did. It brought up all those memories and feelings of what it was like to be raised by your mom. Those feelings left. So that is what keeps replaying over and over and over and over and over and over in your mind, being like, I have nightmares because of that. I have nightmares because um, I feel like he damaged me. I feel like I can't trust myself. I feel like I was on a good upwing swing, and then now it's like I'm not. I feel like, but Spirit says, Wendy, life is like this. It's supposed to be like this. It's never a straight line. We have highs, we have lows, we have highs, we have lows. The key is to try to create it as balanced as we can, and that's through balancing ourselves. No one can do anything to us. However, if there's spiritual lessons that we need to learn, it's like we will feel as if, a person came into our life and they affected us. But understand that wound was there long before that person came into your life. The water is definitely the unconscious mind. It's emotional. It's very emotional. But no one can steal your fruits for life. No one can. It's like you have to be patient. And like, listen, I know because I was raised by someone very similar. Trust me. So it's like, and it really is like, I keep looking at this card, like clear family karma. Like, we're here to clear family karma. And so part of reconditioning your karma is clearing those past programs that are so old and outdated. That's not who you are anymore. And so the way that we do it is through, again, reparenting. So for you, it would be every morning you get up with your kids and you do meditation. Are they going to want to do it? No. But that you need to like give incentives, you need to encourage, you need to, again, be that person that does it for your children every day, and be like, and then it's the same thing with like yoga, the same thing when they go to school, then go on the computer, because you've already now worked out and took care of your spiritual health as well as your physical health. And really, successful people do 20, 20, 20. And 20 minutes is they exercise and move. They do meditation and reflection for another 20 minutes. You just did 2 of those things in that 20 minutes. And then they study. They study, meaning they're always learning. So for you, like, you're not really doing that. You're trying to come from the past knowledge that you learned, and things change all the time. And then you don't have those friends. Like I said, you need friends, you need camaraderie. Everybody needs that, to be like, you can do it, keep going. It's not always going to be your husband, and certainly never going to be your kids. Very rarely anyway, because kids just don't think about it. So it's more like again, your friends, to learn about what's going on in the now. What, like, if you don't know something, it's that's how we learn. So again, that X shouldn't even be holding space in your brain anymore. They shouldn't even, but you're like stuck in the past because of that. And so there's a sense again of, I'm just afraid that I'm going to do harm to my children. That would never happen because you're not the same parent that your mom was. That's number one. Your mom did the best that she could do, but there was no healing back then. You are here to clear family karma. So you have to break your karma, and that is by reparenting yourself. And so that's why it's like all that. I know, which is why I am surprised he popped up for five. I think again, because there's a part of you that's still not happy. Like, it was such betrayal. It was betrayal. This person acted like they loved you. They care. And so understand, when we overgive to the and to the point that we think that's going to be my life. So I was giving to, because I thought that that was my person, and then they did that to me. Again, until you replace that thought with a new one, it will keep replaying, because your mind, the reptilian mind, will not let go of what it considers at one point your emotional support, right? It looks at survival, and your emotional survival is just as important as your physical survival. So if you had given to a person and really loved them and really it like had a connection and thought, and then it doesn't work out, just because it didn't work out, you're like, well, why doesn't my brain just know that they're not in my life anymore and that they were an asshole? Because your brain's like, well, at one time they were good, and you know what, they could possibly come back, so we're going to leave this spot open for them until it's taken, like that, until you meet somebody else. That's why they always say the only way to cry about somebody is on another person's shoulder. But it's like mainly because your brain is like, nope, I have to focus on that, even though it's not. And that's kind of what you're doing. Yeah, like, right. That's what it is, the betrayal. So there's a sense of, I'm not safe. And so in the waking life is telling you, well, how would you get safe? This person shouldn't be able to come into your dreams. They shouldn't be able to do anything. If anything, you learned from the past of what happened. But the reason why that those thoughts are coming through again is mainly because it hasn't been integrated. Yeah, it's weird. I really love my husband, and really, yeah, but you do love them, but you don't love yourself. This is not about the love that you have for your husband. This is about, I don't trust me. I don't trust me now. He did something to me, and that's what I said. It's like the fact that he betrayed me to the point that I don't trust myself. It's like, it's not even the fact that I want to be with him. It's the fact that I had someone do that to me, come into my life and do that to me. How could I have been so off? How could my perception have been off? And the reason why is because there was no balance at the time. And so but now, if you were to really create yourself and be busy, like, you know what you want to do, but so you should be taking like classes online. You should be taking classes like in person. You should be like jumping on a lecture. You want to create yourself. This is passion for you. This is fun for you. Then Spirit says, prove it. It's like, it's not really, because look what's taking up a lot of your time. Like, the fear is your mind can't be in two places at one time. It can only be in one place at one time. Right. And that's why once you do that and then create the structure for your family, and I think that means really a regimented time. I know for me, like, because I'm trying to create something, but I have somebody that's sick. So it's like, I need to like get up in the morning, take care of him, make breakfast, take a shower, or jump on a live stream, go work out. Like, it needs to be like there's a slot for everything, because there's a lot of hours in the day. And so you always have to continue to like learn and to connect but then also take care of your own things. And your emotional well-being is should be number one priority. Meaning if I don't feel good, then I can't be there for my children, and I can't even mentally be there for myself, and I want to learn this new stuff, because part of that is that it's that you do it, but then you don't do things consistently. Where it's like, well, I took this class and now I'm like down 5 months, and here we are, and I'm back in the same place where it needs to be consistent, because you're not just it's not like just the classes. I want you to meet people, friends, relationships are happening over time, and once you take a bunch of classes, you begin to meet the same people. Everybody knows who you are. That's where the camaraderie comes into play. That's when you're going to learn about other places to go, and again, get different ideas that work for you. So that's really what spirit is saying. It's that you're not really happy. You don't have control over your environment. Like your neighbor downstairs is not going to move out. However, you could be like, well, from now on, we're going to do, you know, like at nighttime, we're all going to watch a movie before everyone goes to bed, or we're going to all sit around and talk about the homework and watch a movie, or whatever. Part of this is too, when you're not 100% like emotionally, like, being taken care of, you can't do it for your kids. You're going to be like, go watch TV, go play, go do something, where it's like they're going to feel that. So like you said, I think it's part too that our nervous system, when we get really nervous, it's like have a lot of nervous energy, and we can't like focus on really anything. So I think that it's like between the nightmares and that situation, and then really, I don't know where it's going. I don't know where my life is going. It's like that combination is what's creating the craziness in your house. But remember, it's not about what's going on in your environment. You are the one that's in charge of that. So that means that you're not structured enough. It means that, everyone needs to get their time, but you also need to get your time. So that might mean you get up early and you take care of the things that you need to take care of. Take care of the kids a little bit. They go off to school. Then you're able to like jump in for a few hours, take that class, do whatever, then go out. It's like I said, it's just a more balanced thing. I feel like when you're emotional, you just can't. It's like we don't have the bandwidth for it. And it doesn't mean that you don't love your children. It's like I feel so out of control. I feel like I don't have anything. It's like I'm nervous. It's like, and spirit says that nervous is just telling you can't continue to do things the way that you've been doing them. It's not going to work. That's all that energy is. It's calling you to redirect some of your energy. That is it. And it doesn't even mean that energy was wrong at one point. The whole point of going with the flow of life is that your life changes, things change. And so you have to become strong within yourself. And spirit saying, this is still not strong. And it's because of that, because of the way that you grew up. That's what needs to be reparented. Once you get a stronger connection to your physical body, and that means structure. It means, again, doing everything that we talked about, and then you'll see the difference. And it's going to be a slow process, but slow process is what is lasting progress. It's not like just good for a little while. It means, hey, over the past year, I took about 12 classes. I met these people. They're still in my life. The classes are over, but it's like I still keep it. And then they told me about this place to join and this group to join, and I only have to jump on Zoom once a week, and that's still there. And that's how I found out about this, and that's how I found out about that. And so what happened in between? Well, nothing happened. I felt like I took classes and nothing. I wasn't called to do anything, and no one else was. And spirit says, because you weren't supposed to. You were in that learning process. But did you have anxiety about having to do it? No, because every time I would have anxiety, my friend would say, "Oh, I'm not doing it yet because of X, Y, and Z." And so I got smart and started to listen to them and be like, it made sense that they're not doing it. But then I asked a few other people, and this is how we know you're an island to yourself, trying to make decisions based on past experiences that were shitty. It's like you're not, it's like you might as well just drive the truck off the cliff. It's like, because this is what I'm looking at, and it's like, and my habits and everything are in alignment with that, instead of reparenting, recreating. And then the best thing you can do for your kids is be the example and be happy. Be the example and be happy. It's like, because kids need very little. They just wanted to be loved, and that's all you wanted, and you didn't feel like you had it. And so if you're not happy, it all goes back to that. Do you have any other questions? It's all about this: clearing your family karma. And family karma has affected finances, not just that's what you know you inherited. Issues, financial issues, relationship issues, just issues. Because if we don't like who we are, guess what? We're going to have issues everywhere. You mentioned that I won't have money in a month, but maybe in, yeah, like what I'm saying is, if you do things slowly, yes, you're not going to be like living from your like compulsiveness, meaning like I felt that and I just went out and I invested money in that because I heard about it, but you didn't do any research. So how you are living is by chance. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So what happens is money is good and then you don't have any. You made shit like investments, and then it's like, why did that happen? Well, you weren't educated enough. You didn't know. So what I'm saying is, you learn slowly, where if you're investing slowly, and it's like you're maybe not making $1 million, but you're not losing $1 million, but you're learning all the knowledge. You're meeting certain people, you're learning from those people, and within a year you're able to make your own choices from a much more balanced and educated place. I feel like a lot of it has to do with that. You're just not taking the time. And that happens again if we weren't supported in childhood. A lot of times we're expected, hey, we should do things really fast. And we haven't found our process. And Spirit saying, you haven't really found your process. That's what this is all about. That's why it goes and then it doesn't go. And we know that money has no energy except for the energy you give it. So you're knowing you're actually coming from chance a lot of times. And that's why it's like there shouldn't be that. You shouldn't be like gambling with your major resources. Like, well, this is what I think. You should really try to learn and be around those people so that you will have, again, long lasting money. Like you can, again, invest and learn and keep on doing it, but because you're surrounded by the right people and you're continually getting educated, so you're always in the know. There's a sense of you're not consistent, and so sometimes you don't know a lot of things, and then like I said, you're making decisions that make you lose money. So this is why I'm telling you, if you do things the way I'm telling you, it will be slower, but it'll be safer with lasting results. And a lot of times when we have trauma, we don't want to be patient. We want results right away. And it's not consistent and it's also not really who you are, because what you want today is not going to be what you want for tomorrow. When you have root chakra imbalances, the biggest issue is we try to create stability in what we have now. But like it said, that's not who you're going to be in a year from now. Your needs are different. Your likes sometimes are different. So it's about being strong within yourself, continually creating yourself. This way you're balanced within your home life, and you never have to worry about losing so much that you have to start over there, which is always your sense, which is I go out there, I do well, and then it's nosedive, and then I have to recover, and it takes a long time to recover from that, and then I get back up there, and then it just goes like this again. And that's because there's no ground. It's again that second chakra. We got to go with the flow. And that's through our unique individuality. And that's when the universe also helps conspire to bring us what we need, because we begin to hold that energy of what it is by doing what it is that we want to do, by giving and receiving of love, which is whatever it is. And within you, we already know what it is. It's through those, through making money, through finances, through that type of work. So, like I said, that's what it is. So it doesn't mean that you wouldn't make any money for a year, but not the type of money that you're looking to make, and the money that you know that you've been able to make. And that's what I'm talking about. All right. I hope that was helpful for you and helpful for anyone else that jumped on this. Please, if you resonated with this reading, please do me a favor. When the live stream ends, please write something on it, because all these messages get erased for whatever reason. I don't know why. So, and chances are no one will even look at it unless you write something like, hey, that was good reading. It was what I noticed. I'm glad, and you can come back and let me know how things go. Thank you for supporting my channel. And if you need shadow coaching, definitely check out my subscription for $7.99 a month. It's well worth it. You get, your readings, you get you get to do your shadow healing, and that's something that a lot of people just don't know how to do, and they don't know how to be consistent in it. But one way to start is by doing everything that we talked about today, because you're going to need to do that anyway, regardless of whether you do shadow healing or not. It's just when you're doing different things, it's very common to get triggered. It's very common to like want that extra advisory, because it's like, well, I'm like trying to create a new life for myself, and I still have certain behaviorisms that I need to recondition, but again, consistency. So we meet like every day, and like I said, so whenever you have time, you're able to jump on to do it. Otherwise, no one would be consistent. Just wanted to put that out there to you, and I want to thank you for supporting the channel, and you'll continue to let me know what's going on. Thank you everyone else for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.